Before you ever see Chester Goode limping through another Gunsmoke next season, he may be practicing time steps for a show of his own. For Dennis Weaver, Chester, Marshall Dillon's deputy on Gunsmoke, has not abandoned plans to leave the hit Western series and star in a TV show of his own. CBS and I are partners in a project to set me up in my own show, Weaver explains. We have been kicking several ideas around, including a variety format or a dramatic series, and we expect to know by the middle of next month exactly what it is we are going to do. Weaver had announced months ago that last season would be his final one with Gunsmoke. Now he is coming back for an 8th year. Why? I've tried to make a break and get my own show for the last couple of years, he says. Last season Bob Banner, Gary Moore's executive producer and former producer for Dinah Shore, and I worked up an idea for a variety show. We were going to call it TV Tonight or The Dennis Weaver Show. It would have been a variety program. I would have been the host. But we ran into a hitch. Nobody would buy the show. Weaver's return to Gunsmoke is linked to getting his own show. I agreed to do 15 Gunsmoke episodes, he did 33 of last season's 39, if CBS would finance my own show next year. They agreed. With Weaver now definitely committed to leaving Gunsmoke at the end of next season, the producers have signed Burt Reynolds to be a second deputy for Matt Dillon. He won't limp, Weaver says. When Weaver, now 36, tried out for Gunsmoke, he was a flop at first. Then I remembered how I used to imitate one of my fellow students at the University of Oklahoma. He came from one of the state's lost counties and talked with a twang you could pluck. The director really flipped when I gave him that. I was signed immediately. Weaver, a former track star, doesn't have a real limp. I put that in myself. I didn't want to have two leading men type in the series. The limp kind of makes me an underdog. Millions of Gunsmoke fans are completely unaware that the tall, slender fellow who portrays Chester is a veteran of more than 20 movies and a man who studied acting at the Actors Studio with Lee Strasberg, but Emmy winner Weaver knows, and that's one reason he wants to leave Gunsmoke. I'll hate to leave James Amos, Marshall Dillon, and Amanda Blake, Miss Kitty, Weaver explains. But I want to regain my identity, wherever I go, and the fans crowd around for autographs. They look disappointed when I sign Dennis Weaver. So sometimes I sign Chester Goode. And when I make personal appearances, all the fans yell for me to say, "Coming, Mr. Dillon." That's why, just once and for all time, he'd like to drop the twang, return to his normal voice and shout, "Goodbye, Mr. Dillon."